this is it. The end of 31 and 31 with the 31st movie, Shin Godzilla. And man, this is it. So kaiju'd out. But we do get to end on one of my favorite Godzilla films. And I'm very surprised that this has become one of my favorites, and even watching it a third time now, I really, really like it still. It still holds in the spot for me as my third favorite Godzilla film. And what I like about it the most is it's technically, I've called a lot of these reboots, but they're not, I wouldn't say they're not really reboots. They're more like continuations or, like I've said before, kind of like new universes, right? This really is a reboot. Like, the first film that we got from 1954, set the standard for Godzilla films. And it's kind of what every other Godzilla film has been based on. But this one in particular kind of starts, what they call a resurgence of Godzilla. See, the film also has the title of Godzilla Resurgence, and I never really understood why until really watching the rest of it. You see, this is kind of like a new generation of Godzilla to kind of face new fears, right? And in the case of this one, and I can see it more, I've seen it, it's about kind of like the tsunamis and everything that hit. See, this time we've got Godzilla as a different type of force of nature. He comes from the ocean. It starts off, there's a yacht, and stuff happens over in the ocean, and then Godzilla kind of is formed for that. There's a flooding of a tunnel, and it's quite disgusting because you think it's water that's floating or going to be flooding it, and it's more like blood, like it's really deep red. And I should say that this is directed by Hideki Anno, who is, the director of one of my favorite animes of all time, Neon Genesis Evangelion. And really that shows in this film. Like, I think it takes so much from that series and the way that he does a lot of his anime that he's done. Where, and what I mean by that is the way that he uses music along with the way that the scenes are shot. There are scenes that should be really exciting, and because the way the music is done, it becomes super fast-paced and really, really exciting. Like when they're just kind of all around and setting up desks, you're like, okay, they're setting up desks, but the music is so pounding that you're just like, oh yeah, I'm really getting into this. Oh, this is great. But really, they're just kind of setting up a room that a bunch of scientists are going to work into and try to figure out what exactly Godzilla is. There's also kind of a plot in there where the U.S. is going to get involved because the U.S. knows a lot about it, but and they share information back and forth. And of course, there's also the big turnaround where the Japanese guy lets the French know what exactly is going on and all the information without the U.S. knowing, which halts the U.S. from ultimately, basically launching nukes at Japan so they can stop Godzilla. And Godzilla is kind of really odd in this one because he goes through like evolutionary phases. He starts out in the ocean, you just get to kind of see the tail, and then he comes on land for the first time, and honestly, it is goofy as fuck. Like, just the way the eye is, and it's just kind of crawling around, it's pushing itself on its hind legs, it's not even able to stand up properly, and I think it even at one point, it uses a building to kind of prop itself up, so maybe that it can stand on its, its own back feet, and then it kind of fails to do so, but it slowly evolves. There's even like the T-Rex scene where it comes up and he's got these little tiny T-Rex hands. But eventually when he does come to the surface and he gets out there, man, he becomes truly unstoppable. And the very first time that you get to see the atomic breath, which this time is like purple instead of your standard blue or even some of your reds, it actually kind of spreads from everywhere, including his dorsal fins. And it's when they're trying to attack him. The U.S. is actually trying to attack him. And they think they've gone through and they've affected him, but no, really, they've set off even more. Now, what the scientists discover is that, hey, he is like a nuclear fission reactor. So he has, there's like a radiation half-life that they worry about, kind of like when the tsunami hit and hit the nuclear towers and it brought radiation everywhere. And so he's kind of leaving a path of radiation wherever he goes. But they do discover later on that the half-life of the radiation is about 20 days, and it should totally disappear within about a year or two after they've killed Godzilla, to kind of give everybody a very happy ending. Well, they don't really kill Godzilla. See, the other thing they figure out is that the way that they can stop him is that if they coagulate, and I can never say that correctly, his blood. And by doing so, they can basically stop him. So he uses his blood as a cooling system. See, he disappears the first time because he overheats. So he goes back into the ocean. And then when he comes back, he's like bigger and badder than ever. And he's huge, giant fucking Godzilla. And then, you know, they basically are trying to trick him into overheating. So the way that they're able to beat him is they just kind of throw everything at him. They sacrifice a bunch of people, you know, for the cause. They get them kind of in there, and they decide they're going to pump coagulate into him, into his mouth. And then that's going to mix with his blood, and it's basically going to turn him into stone. That's kind of what it does towards the end of the film, or freeze his body, I guess you can say. And it's, you know, it's a really good sequence. It's really entertaining to watch. But this definitely, like, it doesn't feel like the other Godzilla films. If you have to compare it to it, and maybe that's why I like it so much, it really feels like the original. Like the way that they do it, how they figure out that they're going to stop Godzilla. Everything feels really fresh and like a whole new experience. It truly is a rebirth or a resurgence of Godzilla. And I really, really enjoy it. Yeah, there's some cheesy things like when they're telling each other how, you know, it's going to be, you know, should we stop? Should we stop? And you see it jump from screen to screen to screen to screen of people saying the same thing, but it's kind of like a relay of the message between people. And that's something that I feel is very, Ano when it comes to the film. Like, that's kind of that, it is that anime feel that you get to it. And if you've never really experienced any of his animes, then maybe you don't really kind of get that. I don't know, I just got that weird feeling like it was comforting for some reason, and I was watching a really entertaining film. So overall, I do give this one a full 5 out of 5, you know, atomic breath sprays amongst the people. It is just, to me, such a well put together film. And man, I really enjoy it. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed all of these little kaiju reviews for the month of October. You know, next year we'll do something completely different for the 31 and 31, some type of new theme or whatever, but we're going to have to leave the kaijus behind. And I thank you guys for watching. As always, check out the podcast. It's available on iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Just search for the Terrible Terror Podcast. And check out this month for October. We did a bunch of stuff on comic book episodes, and we're going to do some more special and fun things for you know, Christmas and Thanksgiving time. So please also, you know, we're going to do a lot more things with the channel, so like and subscribe. This is the only time I've ever said it, and it's going to be in the last one. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so get notified when we do stuff. There's car reviews that are going to be on the channel. When, you know, me and my buddies go and see a movie, we're going to do a quick review in the car. You know, good 10, maybe 15-minute review. That'll be on the channel, as well as some other things coming up, like the trailer roundup, where it's going to be something similar to this, except for we're going to watch trailers together, and it'll be a monthly roundup of watching the latest horror trailers that are out there, and the reactions, therefore. So thank you very much, and to all you kaiju kateers out there, we'll see you next time, hopefully with the other ones. Oh, by the way, maybe you'll get a special bonus episode on the Netflix specials coming up soon, or Netflix cartoon ones that are there. So see you later, guys. This has been the Terrible Terror Podcast for the 31 and 31 for October. 31 Nights of Horror, 31 Nights of Kaijus.